when I retired, I found a real loss there. I didn't know how to put my life together. I went from this really clearly defined role in my life, a teacher, very defined, as I had defined it and the world defined it. And I think we're a society of doers, and we define who we are by what we do. And I wasn't doing anything. I wasn't working, I wasn't volunteering. Health was kind of an issue, so I had some limitations. That was sort of an excuse for why I hadn't figured it out. But it was really hard to put together what was going to come next, and I never expected the struggle. And I think in not having a family, I couldn't say I wasn't part of a family. I didn't quite know where I fit in anything, but I sort of had to redefine what had value in life and where I could serve. But it took a while, about a year and a half, to kind of hem and haw and not answer questions and just make some decisions about what's the rest of my life worth. There have been students who I've been told through testing or through my own diagnostics or psych reports that they could not learn to read. They're just neurologically, that was not going to happen. We needed to find some other ways for them to learn. And there are times when I felt like, with a few students in particular, that I could crawl inside of them and sort of and figure out how their heads worked. I could see in them a presence. We're all made in the image and likeness of God. I absolutely believe that. And given that, there's divinity, there's a wonderment, there's a something there. And if I do the right thing at the right time and can connect with that, or believe I can connect with that, and it's a flash. It's not a. I mean, there were moments when I knew I was on the right path, but I saw something special in them, and I absolutely believe that. I think faith it's not something that's easy to talk about, but it's something I can sense sometimes by looking, in people's eyes, in the movement. But I believe that God is there. I look at my life as a rope tow. I learned how to ski in the days before the big hills were just coming in, but being as weak a skier and as bad a skier as I was, and as early in the era of skiing, there were farmers who had hills on their land, and they would put rope tows up. And when the ski hills first opened, rope tows were what was on the bunny hill for beginners. And as you go up a rope tow, one hand's in front and the other's in the back, and you hang on. And as you go up that rope tow, paths are made for each of the skis. And if you're there early in the morning and you're a reasonably good skier, the paths are straight, so you go straight up the hill. If you get there later in the day, or you're not such a good skier, you might end up riding in paths where one ski is higher than the other. Sometimes they go together, sometimes they bow apart, but you eventually get to the top, hopefully, unless you fall off and then you start all over again. But my life is sort of like that. I feel like I'm hanging on to something. I don't know that I've ever asked God what to do with my life, but I have made decisions, and I have found, looking back in my life, that the decisions I thought I was making and then going to carry through on often ended up being something else. I don't ask God what's next anymore. I have this sort of communication or an openness, but often I find out after the fact that something has happened that, that was the right thing, or it worked out and that led to something else in my life. As I move ahead, I want to be open to what comes. That has to do with relationships and listening. I want to be open to I want to be able to love and to be loved, and not curtail it because I have to go someplace or do something. And I want to be able to find skills and talents that I'm not even sure are there, and explore those. Sometimes people retire and they live in fear of what's next, and I don't have that sense. There's a world out there that I'm freer to be open to it, and I don't have to worry about financial obligations. I'm okay. I can just be, I don't have to worry about, time is the great equalizer, and I want to be sure I discern and use it well. It's not defined, but that's okay, because I'm still hanging on to that rope and I'm open.